Hey everybody. So this video is just going to be on how to use codification. For the research assignments, you have to use GAAP directly from FASB. You cannot go to Google and just look for some article. This is very important in research, to go to the direct source, to the primary source. Any article you read is going to be written by somebody whose opinion it is what GAAP says. We want you to go in and look at GAAP itself. And to do that, you have access to the codification. So codification just means GAAP. That's what it means. So there's a link here, and then you have a username and password. I've blurred out the password because it might change in the future. So just go ahead and go into the assignment and you'll have the password there. And this is just one of the example assignments. Your assignment may be the same or maybe different. It doesn't matter. So when you click on that, you should be taken to a site that looks like this. Right? Now, if for some chance you get taken to a site that looks like this, no big deal. Just click on this area that says FASB user login, and it'll take you there. And so once you're there, you type in the password, then hit submit, and there you are. So now we don't want to use the governmental for this class. We want to use FASB's Accounting Standards Codification, and it'll take you to their home page. So here you are. Here's the codification over here, right? And there's some helpful videos how to use the codification. So over here is where you would search for your information. Now, let's say, for example, you are reading your assignment and it asks you about recognizing sales by a management team using something called trade loading. Well, trade loading is not an accounting term. So if you go here and you type in trade loading, you're not going to get anything, because it's not an accounting term. So you have to understand what it is. Trade loading is where you ship your customer way more than they asked for. So they ordered 50 units, you sent them 100, and so you want to recognize the sale. So the managers are trying to boost their sales by sending their clients more and then hoping that their customers just send it back if they don't want it or they keep it. And that's not very fair, as you might expect. But you can't find trade loading in accounting codification because it's not an accounting term. So you have to understand what it's all about. Instead of using the search box, I wouldn't do that. What I would do is go directly into this. So trade loading is basically, has to do with revenue recognition. So we go to revenue, and we go to revenue recognition, and I'm just going to go and select the overview. I would always start with the overview anyhow. Some of this stuff down here is for special situations like entertainment, businesses, and we're not doing any of that. So just go to the overview, and then you can go and you can drill down that way. If you go ahead and you put keywords in here, you might get a bunch of stuff that has nothing to do with the situation at hand. It's much better to go directly in there. And then when you go in here and you want to say, well, when should we recognize revenue? So then you find revenue recognition, and then you can build on your understanding that way. Because if you put something like revenue recognition here, you might get all kinds of stuff that has nothing to do with it. Notice how you got 2,000 results. So just going in and you get a bunch of stuff about franchises, nothing to do with what you're looking for. So it's much more advisable to go directly in and try to drill down, and that way you're going to areas of GAAP that apply to your situation. So it's important to understand the situation before you go and do your research. Now I wanted to offer you a backup plan. If, for example, this page isn't working, perhaps the password no longer works, we have a backup plan. Go to FASB by using ASC, which is Accounting Standards Codification, .fasb.org. So this is actually going straight to the FASB website. What you want to do is you want to use the basic view. So when you click on codification, this is the professional view, you don't have access to that. So you would use the basic view. So you would just click on here and you would get access. Notice how they want you to agree to the license. No way around that. But you have a very similar page that you had before, but you won't be able to do a search because it's the basic view, but you will have access to the codification by going directly into the code itself, into GAAP itself. All right, so make sure that you provide research that's only GAAP. Don't go to Google and find some kind of article that some John Doe accountant wrote. That's not going to be what we're looking for. We're looking for directly from GAAP, primary source. And there's another video that I have for each week for the research to help explain how to do research. This is just to explain how to find things in the codification. Once you find your research, the way that you're going to reference it, the way you're going to cite it in your work, is to just use what they provided. So for example, if you used equity, it's 505, 20, and then you used recognition. There you go, you have your reference already. It's going to be FASB space ASC space 505-20-25, and that's your reference. You don't use APA style references like you do in the past because we're using the codification. That is a more direct way to show where you got the information. So it's easier to do the references when you use codification.